Hello everyone, welcome back to the DUO MFA course by Networkers Home. I am Pranav, your instructor for DUO MFA. Today we will have a look at the vendors supported by DUO MFA, and later on we will have a walkthrough of the DUO MFA dashboard, the different set of options available in DUO MFA, and then we will do a demo on how to protect Windows RDP or Microsoft Windows operating system with DUO MFA, so that you have a multi-factor authentication enabled on the operating system to make sure you, even if your credentials are stolen, still your operating system is secure. No one can else log into the operating system. Okay, so the top application vendors which are supported by Duo are, as you can see on the screen, there are multiple vendors who support Duo MFA. Starting from the left side, if you see all the languages, C, Java, Python, they have their proprietary apps, and the APIs support Duo MFA. All the Microsoft specific applications, which is Microsoft Windows or Azure or Active Directory, Outlook, everything supports Duo MFA. Now going to the cloud services, even Okta One Login or the AD Federation services, those also support Duo MFA. The Unix devices, which are like Ubuntu, Red Hat, or the free BSD Linux or the original Linux flavor, those also support Duo. Apart from that, all the top leading vendors of firewalls or security on network devices, Pulse Secure, Checkpoint, Barracuda, F5, Citrix, Palo Alto, all this support Duo multi-factor authentication. If you see at the cloud applications, Salesforce, all the Google apps, AWS, WebEx, Office 365 already discussed in Microsoft environment, the web applications like Jira, Splunk, or WordPress, and all the SAML applications are supported by Duo as well. When we have the demo now, I'll give you a walkthrough of all the applications which are supported, as it can be seen in the Duo dashboard as well. So this is basically the dashboard of how a Duo admin panel looks like. And now let's discuss something about the security policies which we can create in Duo. Now in Duo, we can create policies on basis of a very granular level, like if the traffic is coming from a trusted network, if the devices should be trusted for some period of time, if the endpoints are in compliance with the company's organization's policies or not, if not, how to upgrade it. First thing, there is a central portal to define all these policies, which is the Duo admin portal. Everything is web based. You don't need any specific application to configure these policies. It will be done from a single pane of glass from the Duo admin portal, and you can even customize the user groups and different set of apps and make a mix and match of the policies and the user groups for a granular control over the application and how it performs. Also, there are contextual policies wherein you can apply the policies based on the location, IP address, network, device type, or the operating system type. On basis of anything, you can create a policy and enforce it for adaptive multi-factor authentication. Duo MFA is the integral part, but on top of that, using these contextual policies, you can also create these policies and apply in addition to the MFA thing, so that you make sure that the endpoint from which the application is accessed, or from the endpoint on which the second factor is enabled, for which the second factor is enabled, is also secure. The user enrollment. There are multiple user enrollment options available in Duo. One is automatic enrollment, second is self enrollment. In automatic enrollment, you can directly sync Duo Cloud or the Duo admin panel with Active Directory. You can sync it with Azure Active Directory, or you can import users using a CSV file. In self enrollment, there are options like inline self enrollment and bulk self enrollment. We will have a look on how to enroll a user in the demo part. Currently, manual enrollment is not supported because you have to do this configuration from the Duo admin panel itself. Now, whenever you import any user, you have the option to activate that specific user's device. The Duo application needs to be activated, and the process is quite simple. If you see on the screen, it is very simple. I have created a test user of my name and added my mobile number, and when I clicked on get an SMS activation code, I received an SMS link using which I activated my mobile for Duo MFA, and later on it got registered, and all the information regarding this specific endpoint or my smartphone has been captured in Duo, so that we can apply the contextual policies which we discussed in recent slides. With Duo, you can secure any type of environment, be it remote users, personal devices, mobile devices, IoT devices, the cloud applications hosted on cloud, starting from Office 365 to Google applications. If your organization has a hybrid infrastructure, which means having on-premises applications as well as having cloud-based applications, yes, everything is supported. Even the AWS and Azure cloud applications are supported, so you don't need to worry on the applications which are hosted on the cloud. Yes, those can also be secured using Duo MFA. And Duo itself is a cloud-based solution, so you don't need to worry on the trend of cloud which is ongoing nowadays. So all those applications are supported by Duo. Okay, let's jump on to the demo part quickly. So if you see, this is the Duo dashboard. I have created my test user with a test license, which has like 18 days left. Now on this dashboard, you get a summary of all the users, the endpoints which are being which can be registered, which are registered with Duo MFA. You can see the number of administrators, the 2FA devices, groups, and the licenses which I have consumed on a user basis. Now let's quickly jump on to see what all applications can be protected using Duo. Now if you go to dashboard and applications, just click on this applications menu and click on protect an application. When you click on protect an application, if you just see and scroll down, there are bunch of applications from almost each and every vendor. You have Array, Aruba, Barracuda, Bomgar, which is used for remote desktop application, Box, the Checkpoint VPN. Since Duo is now owned by Cisco, all the Cisco's product line like Cisco ASA SSL VPN, the FTD VPN, AnyConnect VPN, Cisco ICE, Cisco Umbrella, WebEx, all the applications are supported by Duo. If you see, it's a long going list, and I keep on scrolling, and you can see all the Microsoft applications, OpenVPN, Palo Alto, even the radius which I can use it for any vendor, If it's a plain radius without any vendor specific attributes, Salesforce applications, Splunk, all these applications are protected by Duo, and the list is increasing day by day. Trust me, there are a lot more applications coming in by which are being supported in Duo. Now, what we will do is go ahead and take a specific example of Microsoft Windows where we will see how to protect this application and how to configure different contextual policies, different set of users, how we can. I'll be showing you and demonstrating how the Microsoft application or the Microsoft Windows is protected using Duo MFA. So first thing, we will discuss the policies and the users part while this demo, so it is easy for you to relate it with the concepts rather than to just create a normal policy without having any demonstration. So let's do it in parallel with the application itself. Now for us it will be a Microsoft RDP. If you see, there are multiple applications. If you see this Microsoft RDP, I have to just click on protect it, and yes, Microsoft RDP is protected. Now the next thing is for do protecting Microsoft RDP, what I have to do is first I'll turn on my virtual machine wherein I have already installed the Windows 10 client. For protecting Windows 10, we need to download a specific Duo installer file which is available on duo.com/docs/rdp. So on this, in the first steps section, this is the link where you can install the package. I have already downloaded it for the convenience of the screen of the video recording so that we can. So I will quickly log in onto this. Now when we protect this RDP application, we have to make sure that these details are kept handy, because based on these details, the installer package which we install will try to communicate with Duo Cloud using this specific API host name. And the integration key and the secret key will be used for further sets of authentication so that the application knows that we are the ones who have both the keys with us. So we are logged into the virtual machine. Let's quickly install the application which I have downloaded. I have downloaded it from right away from this specific link. It needs admin privileges, so we have to make sure that we have the administrator privileges or an account with such privileges. Click on next. So first thing, API hostname to communicate with the cloud. So we have this API hostname here. Just click on select and copy it and paste it and just click on next. Yes, it is reachable. That's the reason it jumped on to the next page. Now it will ask for integration key and secret key so that we are integrating it with our own account. Here it is my account. So I'll click this integration key, copy it and put it in this specific box. Same for the secret key. Copied secret keys are quite longer and it is recommended to not note it down character by character. The best method is to copy and paste and click on next. Once you do the next, that means it is able to verify the secret key and the keys are matching. If it is not matching, you'll not be prompted to the next stage. Now make sure you enable this option. What this option means that Duo authentication will be bypassed when offline. The reason being there is additional configuration if the operating system or the machine Windows 10 machine is offline, there is another set of configuration which needs to be done. So better bypass it as of now, since we are doing a test kind of thing, a demo kind of thing, and later on you can enable it for security purposes. Again, use auto push to authenticate if available, which means that Duo will by default send a Duo push notification on the user's mobile, and leave this option unchecked because since we are not using RDP, we are directly connected to the host machine. So this Duo will be asked, or Duo MFA will be prompted only for the RDP if we select this option. So leave it unchecked or default and click on next. We don't have any smart card service, so I'll skip it for now. You can enable Duo for the user access elevation. What does this mean? Means if you're installing any applications of, or if any specific process or task requires admin privileges, you'll be prompted with a Duo MFA and you can use Duo for securing that as well. So that it is, if anyone has by mistakenly got the admin privileges but don't have the user registered on Duo, yes, you can control that specific thing as well. So I will not use it as of now because the purpose is to demonstrate protecting a Windows 10 client rather than the USE elevation. And just click on install. It will install with that specific settings and click on finish. Now the next step would be to add a user, so that I have my user configured on Duo, which will be authenticating with my Windows 10. Now, one thing which we have to make sure is the username which I am creating here matches with my credential, with my username on my Duo cloud. Now, since I'm not using Active Directory, since this is for a demo purpose, I am creating the user manually. You need to keep this in mind that my user should be the same as it is shown in your Windows machine. Now, it is not case sensitive, so even if the P and N are in uppercase, I can still use the lowercase in Duo, and that works perfectly fine. So let's jump on to the user sections. I have created it already for the convenience. Now you can create 8 different alias so that you can use different sets. If you have different set of applications created with different variations of your username, you can use a single username and create different alias for your convenience rather than creating and modifying the original username every time. So for this demo, this username is preferred, and I've already kept one alias of my username without a space, so that if in any other application in our demo, we'll use this specific alias and check if it works fine. I can assign a full name, the email address. Now status you have to keep as active so that it requires two-factor authentication. I'm not a part of any group, so the default group is automatically added for every application. If you want to create a separate group for different set of applications, you can go ahead and do it. And it will show me all the logs below. So since my user is already created, the next step would be to enroll my device with Duo MFA. Now in this thing, what I have to do is just click on 2FA devices, or you can see that my specific phone has been registered with my username. And if I go on my username and scroll down, phones and endpoints are already populated with the required details. So let's delete this and check how we can do it in this demo, so that we all will get a hands-on experience. So what I'll do is I'll remove this specific phone, and yes, I'll also guess that is already removed, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yes, there is no phone. So I'll go on my specific user, and I'll click on add phone. Now if you see, it is asking me for entering my phone number, so I'll quickly do that thing. Just click on add phone, and my phone number will be added, but it will show that Duo is not yet activated and I need to activate it. So what I will do is, to activate it, I'll click on activate Duo mobile, and it will say that for asking for a sending a activation code on my mobile, and how long the link will be valid. You can reduce this if you want the user to activate it then and there itself as soon as possible. For time being, I'll keep it 24 hours. Click on generate and click to send the instructions by SMS. Now I've got this specific link. What I'll do is I'll quickly show you guys the SMS which I have received. What I've did is I already have this Duo application installed. So I'll just click on this specific link, and it will redirect me to the Duo application and ask me for, oh sorry. So if you see it has been redirected, I'll click on open. My device is getting registered. And if you see, a Duo protected application has been already added. Since I am the admin, I also have a admin account as well. But for now, let's focus on this Duo protected application. Now if you refresh this page, you can see that it has detected my phone model, my iOS, and also it specified that it's already end of life, which is not a good thing. And we will see how we can lock out the user on basis of the iOS version, so that the untampered or the older version devices are not allowed for registering or not allowed for using MFA. So this is the user creation we did the application protection. Now let's jump on to the policies part. For now, we will quickly check how the default policy is applied, and then later on we will create a specific application specific policies. If you see, the global policy is applied by default. Now there are multiple options in this. Now, the first one is the new user policy, wherein the unenrolled users are asked for enrolling it whenever possible, and this specific thing has been enabled. So let's test it first. So what I'll do is I'll quickly log this device or log this operating system, and okay, this is my mobile. Close this. Let me do it again. Okay, so typing in my password, and if you see, I've got a notification for either approving or denying, and the location and the time zone. So I'll click on approve, and you can see yes, it is working perfectly fine as of now. So what we can do is, now we know that this specific application is protected successfully. We can see the logs in the reporting section. So if you jump onto the report section, sorry, not so so in this case, the global policy was applied for this specific application. Right now, let's jump on to a custom policy wherein we'll tweak some settings, and then we will see how Duo reacts in that specific case, or is it successful or not. Now in our case, I've already created a policy for Windows. I'll give you a brief overview. First and foremost thing, let's do this thing again by deleting this policy and creating a new one. What I will do is, yep, I'll create a policy name as Windows, and let's see. So for new user policy, I will click on this require enrollment, that if my user is unenrolled, it will require an enrollment. So this radio button is selected. Next is the authentication policy. I want to enforce 2FA. Later on, if you want to bypass for any specific reason, or if you are testing it, you can use this option of bypass, or you can straight away just deny access if you have any specific attack or any such cases going on, and you don't want anyone to log in. You can straight away deny access for some time. So as of now, let's enforce it. This is the policy wherein you'll be using the location of the IP address, how how access can be granted or denied based on the basis of the user location. Now we have to keep in mind that the IP should not be behind the NAT router, and the actual public IP should be reflected. In my case, that's not the case, so we cannot use this specific thing. You can even check the device health application if you have Mac OS or Windows, which is the reporting feature. Next thing is remember devices. If you want to remember any devices for any specific application, I don't want to remember my device for any application, and I want two-factor authentication to be enforced every time and not to skip it. So better to do that. Operating system, I can, now using this custom policy, what I can do is I can enforce policy in such a way that only the specified users of specific operating system are allowed access, and we will see how this specific thing works. So first let's have a brief overview, and then later on, case by case, we will have a demonstration of how everything works. So these are there are different types of operating system: Android, iOS, BlackBerry, Chrome OS, Linux, Mac OS, Windows, Windows Phone, and if it is any other device. Browsers, if you want to block any specific browsers from Chrome, Edge, Safari, Mozilla. If you want to block any specific plugins of Java or Flash, if those are not upgraded, uh, do you want to proceed, or you can block those versions as well. Coming on to the networks part, you can also specify if the IP address is from a very specific network, then you want to allow it or deny the access, or you require multi-factor authentication from a specific set of IP address and you want to bypass it for some networks. If the traffic is coming from a anonymous network, what action will be either to require it or deny the access. Next thing is the different types of authentication methods. Now, as we discussed, by default, everything is enabled, but you can use only specific authentication methods. Consider I want only duo push and I don't want any other things like using the mobile passcode on the duo application, or I don't want SMS passcode option, so I can just disable it and that's it. For now, let's keep it as all. The duo mobile app, if it is updated or not. If not, it will ask for updating first. If the device is tampered or not, if you have a tampered device or a rooted device, do you want to allow the access from that device or not, or you want to block the access from tampered devices? Since tampered devices are prone to different types of attacks and vulnerabilities, they don't have any means of security. Next is if the authentication device from where the 2FA will be done has a screen lock or not. If it doesn't have a screen lock, do you want to allow or not allow the Duo application to do the MFA? Full disk encryption is applied or not. This is specific only for Android devices, whether you want to allow or not allow the authentication on the Android devices with full disk encryption, without full disk encryption. And this most important thing is mobile device biometrics. If you want to apply an additional security on top of MFA, if you want to require the device to be registered with the touch ID or the biometrics, do you want to do it or not? So as of now, we'll just create as don't required and we'll create this policy. So you can see all these things are enabled. In the global policy, these things are not enabled. There are only the new user policy and this authentication methods I enabled a couple of days before for test purposes. Now what we have to do is go into the application sections, go into our Microsoft RDP application, and for application policy, we have to select a specific policy. Now we have a policy of name Windows created. We'll click on policy Windows and click on apply policy. Now we can see that the global policy is not applied anymore and the custom policy has overridden, because this is a user defined policy and user defined policy takes precedence over the global policy. So that's the reason we are able to see these specific things enabled and on top of global policy. Now, the parameters which we have set are quite similar to the global policy. So we will get access to the application, but in the next step, we'll be seeing how to control the access based on different parameters which we discussed. Now let's quickly check if we are able to log in. Let's go and lock this device. I'll enter my first factor, which is my local password. Now, since during the installation we selected Duo Push by default, I'm getting a Duo Push by default, and when I click on approve, yes, I got the access. It's as simple as that. So, in the next section, we will see how to tweak the policies, the custom policies which we created, and how to enforce it and check if the enforcement is successful or not.